Now the figure is not drawn to scale. All the lines meet at right angles. Find the area of the figure. So looking at this figure, if we notice that it does not look like a regular rectangle. Okay, so it looks like a rectangle, but with this part being cut off from the diagram. Now, so if we wish to find the area of this, all right, so be very careful. If we do 200 times 120, so I'm sure you know that area of a full rectangle is the length times the breadth. So some of you students, you might just do this 200 times 120, and then you give me this as the answer, 24,000 cm2. All right, so 24,000 cm2, it's only the area of the whole entire figure here. Okay, when I say whole figure means including this portion. So if let's say I have this full piece like this, okay, with this being included also, then yes, the whole rectangle is 24,000. All right, but because now I only want this area here without this part. Okay, so your area here should be smaller than 24,000 in that sense. Okay, so you have two ways to do this. So one way is in order to find this solid figure here, the area of this solid figure here, you can use your 24,000, the whole thing, minus away this green color area that I've cut off here. Okay, so that's one method. Another method is you can just purely work with the solid figure here by cutting the diagram up into shapes that you're familiar with. Okay, so I'm going to use that second method that I've mentioned. Okay, so I'm just going to clear this. So either one, it's fine. If you want to take away the green part, then the same thing, this green part, you're going to cut it up into this four-sided figure here and another four-sided figure here. Okay, so if I were to use the original figure, now notice original figure, like I said, is not yet it doesn't look like a regular rectangle, right? So please split it up into shapes that you are familiar with, which in this case, I can cut it this way. Okay, so I can cut it this way here so that I see a rectangle here. Okay, so I see a rectangle, then I can easily find the area of this rectangle later. And of course, over here, I can further cut it up in this manner. So now you will notice that there are three rectangles. Okay, so the approach is I'm going to find the area of each rectangle and then just sum it up. Just sum it up to get the full area then. So let's call this rectangle A, B, and C. Okay, so to find each rectangle means you need each of their lengths and breadth. Right, so let's look at rectangle A first. So for rectangle A, do we already have the length and breadth? So notice that the length, we have it 100. The breadth, we also have it 120. So just simply straight away find your area of A by taking 120 times 100. Okay, so let's go on to do rectangle B. Now rectangle B, so far, notice that I do not have the length, neither do I have the breadth here. Okay, so you can call this length, you can call this breadth. Okay, it doesn't really matter actually. So longer side, shorter side. So we need to go and find out the values of this breadth and this length. Okay, so let's find out this part first. Now to find out this part, notice that I can use the 420 here. Okay, so that means this whole thing will be 120, right? So I think it's pretty straightforward from here because we have this 40, this is 120, so there you go, you can find this longer side. Okay, so to find the longer side, simply 120 minus 4. Okay, so this side, 120 minus 40. Okay, so if you can, please write it back down onto the diagram and notate down that this is 80 cm. Now, and the next one will be finding the shorter side. Okay, so to find the shorter side, look at all the horizontal lines. Okay, don't get yourself confused between like vertical lines versus horizontal line. So I'm going to use a blue color highlighter. Okay, so to find this, now notice that to find this, right, this blue part is actually part of this huge 200 cm. Okay, so within this 200, you know that this part is 100 from here, correct? And you know this part is 40, which means now I can find this shorter side of rectangle B, which will simply be taking your 200 minus these two values. Okay, so this part would be 200 minus those two, which will give you a 60 cm. Okay, so let's write it down here. So this will be 60 cm, this length here, which means I can find area of B now simply by taking my length times breadth. Okay, and lastly for rectangle C, so for rectangle C, do I already have the length and breadth? I think it's pretty clear cut, 40 and 60. So go ahead, straight away find your area of C, 40 times 60. So now you have all the three rectangles area. So now you find area of whole figure simply by adding up these three areas. And there you go, 19,200. So notice that this area should be smaller than my 24,000 just now. When I took 200 times 120, like I said, that is only the area of the whole rectangle as if this part was there. So this is confirmed lesser than 24,000 because I don't have this part here. Alright, so remember area is about the amount of space within the figure. Right?